Hey folks, welcome to the Agency Action Show. My name is Kurt Von Ahnen. I'm here with my co-host Toby Cryns from the Mighty Mo, and we're super excited to be here again. Thanks for listening, watching, all those things. Like, share, follow. I want to hit all those things at the very beginning. And to make Eric happy, I'm going to tell you that everything's all about artificial intelligence and AI. Now, past that, Toby, we run agencies, and we were going to talk about hosting, and we kind of gave people a tease, but I think we want to develop that for another episode. Let's talk about things that are really affecting us today. Talk to me about being tired.
Yeah, man. So I'm tired,
I'm tired.
but not the normal tired. I'm like the tired you get when you have a 14-year-old kid and you realize you haven't slept since she was birthed. That's the kind of tired I am. And my agency am deeply involved in pushing it forward. And by that I mean I've noticed a couple of big issues that I want to resolve in my agency with the humans and with our processes, just some really deep things that we're going to improve. And I'm realizing I'm in meetings all day. And then I come home from meetings and it's nonstop. I'm carting kids to school or to activities. Well, first of all, I have to bring the kids to school. So like today I was up at 5 a.m. I'm working on an app I'm building. Then I get the kids to school and then I'm on calls. And now I'm here in this. And I still haven't done any of the work, really. The meetings is the work. And it's tiring. And so how do you deal with this, Kurt? Like, are you ever just feeling totally maxed out and you still got to show up? This is why we've been in business as long as we do. We have this like gene where we just keep showing up.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the stupid side of my gene pool. So I told you this morning, I've had a week also where we sold a large project, and in order to sell the large project, we put it into phases, and phase one had a very short window to launch an MVP, right? So the customer has a launch date in mind, and we spent so much time negotiating the scope of work before we actually started phase one that when it came time to exchange funding and sign the paperwork, it was like, oh crap, we only have 10 days before we got to launch this MVP product. And it's not the minimal viable product we're launching includes a full 7 courses in it. So there's a lot of stuff. And I've been up till 12:30, 1 o'clock every day this week, checking work that the team does, doing work the team hasn't done, and communicating with the client. And let's just be honest, this is one of the bigger projects that we've sold lately. And it's like, I'm definitely want to keep the customer happy through phase one. You know what I mean? Like we want to launch on time, under budget, good quality. And I know an MVP implies you can skimp on quality a little bit, but I want to come to them. I want to knock it out of the park. You know what I mean? Like same as you do, but it exhausts you. You're like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. So today, instead, I turned on the computer and I stared at it for 20 minutes and didn't do a thing. And I said, you know what? Today's the day. I got 2 roasts on the smoker. I lit a cigar and I mowed the front yard. And I think that physical activity puts me in the right mindset to come in and be able to have a conversation with you. When this is done, I'll be able to turn on the browser and do some work.
You brought up a neat thing about that you just skimmed over because it's probably what you do every time. But I got to say, this is not normal for a lot of people. What you described was a process where you front load a lot of the planning.
Yeah.
Because there's a scenario where you just say, we'll get to it when we get there. And I think a lot of people do that. I was thinking, like, along those lines, one thing that we've been improving at the Mighty Mo that we're in the process right now, this is part of what I'm describing, is I realized that my team doesn't have enough holistically. Like if I pulled my developer on a project, he probably hadn't read the contract. Like this is interesting and news to me because I'm like, it's been there. And we have a project brief. And I'm realizing over the last few weeks, like I haven't been requiring our team to have a full understanding of all that. Like what did we promise? What's not you? Well, you know your job. Do you know what this person's job is? Do you know what the artist is doing? And so that's one improvement we're making at the Mighty Mo is we're front loading a lot of the learning and the process, and we're really shifting it, pushing more and more to the front so that when we start the project, our team has a better just collective understanding of where we're going. And it right now, this is part of the tiring part. I'm building that into the company, and it's not a straight line to that. Like I have to get buy-in from the team, and we're going there regardless. It's just like, hey team, you have to figure out how to buy into this, and I'm going to be pushing you.
Well, you hit on a couple of things just like I did, I guess, right? So for me, before I can implement any process. And I train in the power sports industry, the marine industry. So I'm working with retail dealerships and distribution companies a lot. Right. And they all want the easy button. Like when they sign up for training and consulting with me, they think I'm going to come in with some easy button like, oh, we just fixed this one thing and everybody's making money. And I'm like, no, no, we have to improve the leadership and communication at all levels through your business, right? I believe in a 360-degree leader. Everybody's a leader on the team in some way, shape, or form, right? So we have to improve the leadership and communication. That's going to restore or build that internal culture that we need. Like everybody has to feel like they're on the team. Like if you don't have that internal culture, you can make all the rules and policies and processes you want. Nobody's going to follow anything, right? And so it's like you have to have that teamwork, family buy-in kind of sensation. And people hear me say this and they go, oh, he's full of it, crystals and pyramids nonsense. And I used to be the guy that said, oh, that's crystals and pyramids nonsense. I was always a work harder, work faster, we'll figure it out, we got to get it done guy, right? But I found out that most people aren't wired that way. Like I'm wired that way, and I sense that you're wired that way. But a lot of people on our teams aren't wired that way. They got to feel like they're part of the bigger scenario. And so when I talk about this project we signed up for with the 4 phases, I literally spent the whole first day of the project building the project in our project management software, inviting the client and his partner to the portal. Everybody on the team and the customers have a full view of every milestone and task of the 4 phases. There's a Kanban board that says, what's waiting, what's been assigned, who it's assigned to, when it's due, and what process it's in. Is it working? Is it ready to be reviewed? And is it completed? And we follow all this, and everything has a drop dead date, And some people would say, well, gosh, Kurt, for a website, that seems like overkill. But when you have this many moving parts, you got to have the process.
Yeah. I'm also realizing my team has been coming to me with questions forever. And I'm like, just this last month, as I've been totally maxed out, I've been taking stock of the questions they're asking. A lot of them are, hey, should we send this invoice to the client or should I bill for this? What type of conversation should I have with the client? And I was thinking it took me 19 years to get here, but I'm like, why are you coming to me with these questions?
Yeah.
And
You're
one
the accounts payable lady.
Yeah, one thing I'm like, one that I'm think we're gonna that I think will help. And I was talking to my project manager specifically. I was like, because she's like, should we bill them like a half hour for this thing? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what conversations you've had with them or the state of the relationship. But I was like, look, I need to provide I'm thinking it's like a values statement that says like, here's what we're after. We want to create a sustainable business for us, create a lot of value for our client, do it fairly, something like that. And if I create that statement or we work on it together, we have a statement that you, the project manager, or you, the developer, have a question, first go there. And if that can answer the question for you, then don't come to me.
Yeah. Our goal should be to build a self-sustaining kind of autonomous thing. Like it should be cool that it should be awesome that we show up for a meeting or shake a hand with a customer or, push a project along like as an added benefit. We should be able to supplement the processes and team that we've put in place. But we really shouldn't be in a position where everybody is wholly dependent upon our every decision and whim and all those things.
Yeah.
I know you and I talked about this a show or two ago, but like you were like, well, Kurt, what do you consider success? And I'm like, success to me is looking at the schedule, realizing I've got 3 or 4 open hours and that if I want to, I can go for a bike ride. Like for me, I'm getting older and my mental well-being and my physical health is more important than any dollar I'm going to bring in through the agency. And for me, that's bicycling and getting outside. I don't know that a lot of agencies put themselves in that position. I think they set themselves up thinking that's going to happen. It's like when I sell a membership or a learning product to a new course creator. They've somehow watched some content online and they think they're going to build an online course. People are going to flood it and give them credit cards like crazy. And then they're going to go sit on the beach and look at their phone and just count the money. And I'm like, that's not how any of that works. And I think a lot of agency people feel that way. I think agency people think, well, I've been making websites for a couple of nonprofits or a couple of people in town, right? And they go, well, I think I'm going to make it official and start my own business. And then they throw up a couple of ads on Facebook and then maybe they even hire a couple of people, right? But when it doesn't automatically inject itself with cash flow and revenue, I think they start to panic.
Yeah. So the question that I've been struggling with, not struggling, well, it's been a continual struggle my whole professional life. How it's like how to build this business, not that's self-sustaining, but that's sustainable. And like I've always been in state, I had my first baby, my daughter, and it turned my whole everything I thought I had under control was just thrown on its head. And so like that was one of these, like, as I talk about, it all feeds in there. But I think like when you were talking about 360 leadership, and I think we're talking about the same thing when I say ownership, and I try to like I'm trying to figure out, and this values statement conversation is one of those, how to give the team autonomy and ownership over like where we're going. And one thing a couple of wins we had, so we have over the last couple of years placed a project management layer between us and the client, thinking that it would improve everything. Well, hey, the client doesn't want to talk to a bunch of people
Yeah.
throughout a
Single
project. They
point of
just want like
contact.
to know what's going. And there's pros and cons. But for the type of work we're doing, I'm realizing that like it's just too much on project management who doesn't know development. We're doing development primarily. So there are a lot of times translating development talk to the client and getting it wrong, and like timelines are stretching unnecessarily. So what we've been doing just in the last few weeks to both build the 360 leadership idea and ownership, and also like hopefully at some point give me the ability to go for a walk in the sun. Uh, I've been, for example, this is just one example, been putting our dev team and designers in direct contact with our clients, and effectively like, and I've been as a directive, I've told our project managers to do this, and I've had to like course correct a couple times. No, you just email them. Stop emailing them. Just tell them to tell the developer to call them. Just introduce them. And we've also started. We haven't done this for the same reason that I thought was helpful. We haven't brought clients into our project management system. We're doing that now, just in the last week or two.
Yeah.
And already the feedback's irrelevant. I'm feeling like already that's helping. And something that hadn't happened maybe in 5 or 6 years was someone other than me called a client, and it was a developer. In fact, we had two developers in the last 2 days call the client and just like solve an issue that like and again, I thought I was doing myself and them a service. I thought I was providing better service by like providing a buffer there, but I think I maybe wasn't.
You got to sample that, right? So if you don't try, you'll never know, right? A lot of people make assumptions. It's kind of like, well, for instance, you have in the notes here, we had to reset our delivery process. And then your next note is why agency QA is broken. And it was funny because you and I were discussing the notes before the show, and I was like, how many agencies have a QA program? And so,
Yeah.
but that layers things in for you and what you just described. Because if the developer is talking directly to the consumer, then you get into kind of this weird kind of flow where the developer might actually deliver the product to the consumer at the end instead of the project manager. So then the question is using the four eyes process, meaning somebody else looking for mistakes and errors, right? Because if you make a mistake or error, the chances of you finding it yourself are pretty slim. So then you have to wonder, okay, so what's going to be our QA process from developer to consumer? You can't let them build the project and then deliver to the customer and no one else internally check the work.
Yeah. So we're figuring this out too. Like we've had a QA process, but it has a lot of room for improvement. And recently we really failed a specific client in our QA. And it was that we didn't have the right process for the project. And this is part of all the meetings I've been having. I'm like, we need to fix this QA problem. And it's a lot trickier than I originally thought. Specifically, this is a new thing for me, that I'm now pushing our team to get client buy-in on the QA documents. So here are the things we're going to be checking in QA. Do you agree? And if so, we're going to send you a form that says you agree to this QA process. Because where we recently we created problems for ourselves in that like we got buy-in from who we thought was the stakeholder, but another stakeholder's like, what are you talking about? I never signed that.
Yep.
So like we're like shoring up the QA. I don't want to say it's simple. So we have like, think about QA. You have like a design type of QA doc potentially, and we have that. So like, here's how many pixels are between here and here. If we're redesigning a page or a site, we want to have some standards. Here's how we're going to like add CSS classes to things. And then we have QA for non-technical people. Like, here's how the links should work. It should open in a new window, or it shouldn't, or it should have its own image instead of like bringing the global image, that sort of thing. And then there's like, you talk about other things we sell, like SEO needs its own entire QA process. So I say QA, totally needed, totally difficult. How do you handle QA, Kurt?
Well, I think you definitely touched on one thing, and that is we have a visiting dog that visited unexpectedly over the fence. Bye, dog. So knowing the stakeholders is so stinking important. We have a client that okay, so I'm gonna describe this in a way without giving up their whole personal life. It was partners, and this one is all design and make things pretty. And this guy was all function, what tools, what plugins, blah, like all that, right? This guy's like, I want a shopping cart because we're going to sell hard goods, soft goods, digital goods, all these things. This person's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. They separated and the cart never got developed. Like we installed it, but they never set up the cart. And this person decided when this broke up, this person was like, I don't know what they're talking about. We don't sell any product other than digital products. And I said, well, then we don't need the cart. We'll just use the native payment gateway in the LMS, you know? And so we set it up, we launched. Now it's 2 years later, and come the questions. Well, how come the same person can't sign up for the same course more than once? And I go, well, how would you track the same user account twice in the reporting system? Like what you're asking doesn't even make sense. But her expectation of what this website should do is completely not what was built, because there were two stakeholders involved. And then when one isn't there anymore, you end up with a mess. And so we ended up having to put a shopping cart back into the website and then redoing the entire user experience through the site. Like, because of course, the whole website was littered with custom payment links and buttons and all kinds of weird stuff instead of just using it like an LMS. And so it was quite the project to switch everything over. And it comes down to a stakeholder thing. When I worked at Suzuki, so thinking about things from an enterprise perspective, the marketing department had a relationship with a, developer marketing company, whatever you want to call it, a firm, and they did the websites. And so the marketing people would be the single point of contact for that agency. But if you think about the size of a company like Suzuki, you've got fixed operations, you've got sales, you've got marketing, you've got supply chain, you've got the legal department. And so this poor agency would build something and marketing would go, well, it looks good to us. And then the legal team would be like, no, absolutely not. You can't put that on the website. And it was boom, boom. But now, again, this is outside looking in. I don't feel that particular agency had the proper QA process, because they would have said, we need input from each of your stakeholder departments before we publish any product. And it's going to cost you an extra $25,000 to have those meetings.
Well, that's one lesson we're learning too is think about website maintenance. Everybody's like, it's $50 a month or whatever. Like it's just to throw in. And what we're learning every day is, and this is part of our shoring up our QA. We were doing a QA process for one of our monthly maintenance clients, and I'm looking at it because something broke, and I was like, why did this break during our updates? And it was like, and I was talking to our developer, and this is like this long series of conversations I've been having. It's been deep and very like minute details. And he's like, well, ideally, in an e-commerce setup, we would have a staging site that's hooked into their same payment gateway, and we can test transactions. I'm like, that doesn't exist here. And so he just did it without that. And we didn't have a testing credit card, from the client and that sort of thing. And you can imagine a scenario where you go from like click update in WordPress and assume it's good to we're going to have a staging environment that's connected to a payment gateway that's separate from there. And we're going to test it here. Then we're going to launch and test it there. That's a big project every month. I mean, 30 hours maybe to test, to fully QA that.
And people don't recognize the steps of the work. They hear something and they go, oh, that's easy. And you're like, no, that's 10 hours of work. 10 hours at, $200 an hour, that's $2,000. I can't just give you $2,000 every month. Here's one where, again, stakeholder information is so important. We build a lot of e-learning and membership websites. So the implication there is it's a dynamic website with lots of users. So I have now become very accustomed to asking them, what's your plan for internal support? And they go, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, you're going to have 2,500 people in here. You're going to have 4,000 people in here. How many reset my password, can't log in, my credit card didn't go through? How many of these do you think you're going to get every month? And how are you going to address that or handle that? And they go, well, the website should. I go, oh, well, hold on with what the website should. We're talking about people. So you have these people that have a problem with your product, your delivery, your content. Tell me how you plan on handling that, because I can't let it be a problem 3 months into the project that we didn't address. And more times than not, we've been able to sell them a ticketed support platform to put into the website where I assign someone on my team, like a support at whatever their URL is. And that gets forwarded to someone on my team. And my team takes care of all the support that their company has, except for things that the company really has to answer. So payment gateway problems, password problems, not seeing the right form or not getting access to the right membership, like that's all handled by us. And then like someone that says, I want to do a link exchange with your marketing department. Well, we forward that to the client. But that's become a good profit center for us as an agency. But I want to roll that back a little bit. We're talking about QA. Well, now I've got my team giving customer service to someone else's customers. And so we have to create reports on that and report on that and meet with our clients about the results of the support so they know who's happy, who's upset, and all that kind of stuff. So that QA process has levels to it.
Mm-hmm. Changing gears a little bit here. I've been building I've built 4 internal tools using AI, vibe coding, basically.
It's those meetups you go to.
Exactly. I'm realizing, and so I was talking to my SEO guy today, and we're probably going to build another internal tool specific for SEO reporting because, the tool we want to use is going to cost us about $25,000 a year to use. We're already paying quite a bit for SEO tooling,
Yeah.
and so we're probably going to build it. It's probably going to take a week, and I'll probably be deeply involved. But the question is kind of like, I guess it's a reality. Like this option is out there. And when I think of QA specifically for us at the Mighty Mo, we built a contract app recently. In the last month or a month and a half, it builds our contracts, and that's a QA issue too, because what we were discovering is from contract to contract, the language was different. Our sales guy would slip in something. I'd be like, we can't do that. Like, I was like, I have an insurance company to worry about that doesn't like that. And so I've started just centralizing all of our clauses. We built a tool. We built a tool that's my 30,000 foot tool this is my new project management tool, in addition to ClickUp, where I talk to my project manager. I'm like, let's slowly fill this out for me. Like, what's blocking it? What's the payment? Where are we at? Like, what are the phases here? And so that's a separate tool. In addition to the contract app, we now have an approval app where we send a link to our client. They say, I approve this homepage design for the next phase. They submit. We have a digital record of them signing that. And so now we're talking about building an SEO tool. Have you thought about building an internal tool? Like, is there a process at Mañana No Mas that you could see perhaps handing over to a tool that you build, or maybe a tool that you're paying for? You're like, I think I could AI build that.
I'm a sucker for a lifetime deal. Note to plugin developers, I am a sucker for a lifetime deal. So I, years ago, bought a lifetime deal with a SaaS platform, and it does more than I even use. I mean, I probably use 20% of what this platform will do. And I use the proposal feature fervently, very, very aggressively. So I have proposal templates, and those proposal templates get leveraged to share information for proposals and for projects with clients. And the third page of the proposal in the template is a digital signature for approvals. And so we've leveraged that quite a bit. Now, converting that proposal into a contract, I've actually been doing outside of the platform. So when you were like, we created a contract app, I'm like, ooh, that sounds sexy. Because I still do that in a much more manual process. And maybe it comes down to trust. Like when I think about building something with AI and it's like a contract with terms in it, makes me really nervous. I feel like I want to be more manual in the process just to know what's actually in the dang document. I'm afraid I'm going to hit, update and send, and it's going to say, yeah, you can have my house.
Yeah. I think like there was another one of these stories just yesterday, I think, where AI deleted our database. It was some huge SaaS service, and they had a backup from 3 months ago that they restored, but they're like, we lost 3 months of clients, money, bills, like There's a real thing with AI that there's a real reason to be scared about integrating it with all the things, I think. At the same time, I go, it's going to potentially save me 25 grand for a week's of effort, for 1 week effort of my part.
AI is a great tool, but I feel that people get overconfident and then they MCP this thing into all kinds of tools. And then, like you said, can lose data, can lose things that are very important. Speaking of lost data, and maybe this is part of a QA thing, we recently migrated a client from one host to another host. And it's one of our hosts to another host, right? So it's not and I decided before we migrated anything to go in and take screenshots of all the pertinent pages and certain things and make sure that we have valid backups of the project because I'm paranoid. And I am more paranoid of clients than I am of the actual migration process. And so they have 136 courses in their website, and some are in different languages. And so we did the migration. Everything was great. Like the website was fast, everything was great. But then like 2 weeks goes by and the customer says, I have an emergency. These 2 courses are missing. And I'm like, so out of 136 courses we migrated and all those lessons, you have 2 courses that are missing? And so I go into the website and I find one of them. Like it's right there. Maybe she didn't search it correctly, or maybe she fat fingered the title. I don't know, but I looked it up and it was right in there. The other one was never published. Like we have backups that go back like 6 months. And so we're looking at all the backups and I'm like, can you find this anywhere in the data by title? And no. So I did find a similar title, but in draft mode, like it was never published. Right. And that comes down to, again, QA process. If we didn't have the backups, if we didn't have, the ability to look at the things that we can look at and troubleshoot things for these clients in this way, they would have literally thought, oh, well, they dropped the ball. They lost one of my products. And it's like, can you tell me specifically when you had this product published and when you had people sign up for it? Because they're trying to say it's lost revenue. And I'm like, how did you lose revenue on something you never published?
Mm-hmm.
It was never, according to the data, this was never on your website.
Yeah. There's something to be said for taking regular snapshots of a website that you're working on.
Yeah.
The ideal scenario is you're like full, readily accessible. They're all here. I can just scroll a folder. But the reality is like we do really 3 months worth of backups of all the sites we're working on from the date we start, and then we keep them for 3 months. But these are zip files that are like sitting on a cloud server that we need to. It takes time and energy to restore them. But I can't tell you, many times a client will be like, the story you told, and I'm thinking you could be right, but
Could be
I'm
right.
actually kind of skeptical. And we've just recently we went back to a backup, and we had that scenario where we're like, okay, we have backup from 2 months ago from February. We're going to take a quick look at it, and and we moved forward from there. But yeah, as we think of QA, like it includes that too, doesn't it? You kind of
QA requires you to think of ways that the customer will get confused or lose confidence.
mm-hmm.
If we think about it, and they could be great clients too. They don't have to be bad clients. I don't want people to think everyone's a bad client. I don't know that there is a bad client. I think we cultivate bad clients sometimes. So what do you do when a good client gets frustrated, and how do you recover that trust? For us, we've learned over the years, because we didn't used to do all this stuff, but we've learned what are some things where the client's going to get confused or overestimate our abilities or have a higher expectation than is real. And we will proactively collect data so we have it if it comes up. And I'm not saying it always comes up, but when I was on PC, because I recently graduated to Mac, I haven't duplicated this in Mac yet, but when I was on PC, I created a Node.js automation through my computer where I would put in a URL, hit go, and it would go to that URL and take a screenshot of every single page of the website and dump it into a downloads folder in my external hard drive. And so part of our process up until 2 months ago when I switched operating systems was every project we worked on, I had a full scale screenshot folder of their entire project before we did any work on it. And so if they were like, this page is different, I'd be like, let's take a look.
Yeah.
Boom. But I think that lends, recently we added a security feature to all of our hosting clients. And I didn't charge extra for it. I charge extra for new clients, but I grandfathered the old clients in just providing the service. We get a security report from this plugin provider that we use. And I take the report and I just send their invoice. I send the report. I say, congratulations, you've had a great month. Your website's doing awesome. And it just gives them, I feel that it gives them that added confidence of like, wow, Manana Nomas has my back. Like they said they were going to maintain the website, and here's a report that says they maintain the website.
Yeah. Makes me think like when I think of things that clients get confused on, and us too, frankly, if we're not in alignment. What does done mean? Like this is the big one. And this
Yeah.
is really what QA is about. Like define done in a way
What
that
do
we can both agree on. And that's one reason why I built this sign-offs app, is because there was one project where there was confusion, and it was like one person agreed that it was done, the other person later. So we moved forward thinking we
yeah.
had full agreement. And then the person's like, no, that's not done. We're like, but this person said it was done. And so now we're like, that's why we're like, okay, I know it seems weird sometimes, but we're going to send you this form to fill out that says it's done.
That is actually part of my proposal process. And I know this came up on a previous show, right? But I'll factor into the proposal, I'll say this is going to be an estimated 8-month project. We're estimating we're going to have 12 meetings up to 45 minutes each during those 8 months. And we're going to have 4 phases, and each phase will have a sign-off process before we move to the next phase. And it's all articulated in the proposal. So the client knows, like, it's not a surprise when I go, oh, hey, you got a document in your email. I need you to sign that before I can put the team back to work on your project. And if you delay signature of that, you delay the completion of your project. It's not, we're extending the deadline. If you act, in a timely manner, we'll just extend the deadline. And deadlines to me are like super serious. The whole Manana no Mas thing is we don't miss deadlines and we don't go over budget. And so since 2008, we've never missed a deadline, and we've never asked somebody for more money unless they've changed the scope of work or didn't do their own homework.
Mhm. All right, let's end it there. This has been a great conversation about QA primarily. Who knew? But here we
Who
are.
knew?
Such a whole podcast about QA.
Well, you know what? Both of us are tired, so maybe it was due to have the conversation.
I think like the reality is this, it's underlies a lot of what we do every day, this QA thing. Like it's there, it's ever present, and it's you either deal with it head on or you let it attack you, basically.
Yeah, it'll fester. This is the difference between you managing your agency and your agency managing you. Like you have to put yourself in a position to manage the beast that you created.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that sounds good. I should record that and put it somewhere.
I
Hey,
wish that was
folks,
recorded.
like, share, follow. If you have a friend that's in the agency space and they haven't heard of the Agency Action Show yet, send them an email with a link. And if you like what you heard here, if I'll say it like Matt Medeiros, if you like what you heard here, look up the WP Minute on YouTube. Toby, how can people reach you?
I'm at LinkedIn, TOBYCRYNS, or on themightymo.com, THEMIGHTYMO.com. Kurt, how can we find you?
I'm on LinkedIn too. I'm the only Kurt Von Ahnen there. It makes me easy to find and click. And do the connection thing. Don't do the follow thing. Do the connection thing so we can meet each other. And Manana no Mas is the company name, and it's all the socials and the .com. We'll see you next time,
See
folks.
y'all. See y'all next time.